generally speaking, when somebody feels that you win, that also implies if there's a winner, there's a loser. And if it's just you and them and you've won, that further implies that they lost, right? And so if you can't make this something other than a zero-sum game, your gain is their loss, right? And that is, it's like people talk, I hear this a lot, is that, people are just, they blow with the wind with rate. And it's like, there's a threshold, yes. But people seek price in the absence of value. And value is a concept based on need. And if somebody that gets, 0.1% better, they go somewhere else, there was insufficient value to retain. I've seen plenty of loan officers in the last, 5+ years of doing this, where they are so inherently valuable to the process that a 0.25% better, a 0.5% better didn't get the person to leave. They had no reason to economically, but the service was worth the price.
If I can, when you're ready, I want to build.
No, go for it.
Okay, so you're 1,000% correct. And again, I have written loans. So the idea of, well, I sell my service, people, that's the unicorn. When you find somebody that believes that there is a better rate available, but will stay with somebody even though there's that financial difference. There is that unicorn. I won't disagree with you, but what I will say is that it's a lot easier to create doubt in the mind of a consumer about this advertised rate that those of us know is not really there.
Sure.
Right. And so, and to eliminate this conversation of comparison altogether by having great reviews, great testimonials. And most consumers, like, again, if let's say it's a real estate agent giving out 3 cards, they're going to Google those 3 people and decide which one person they're going to contact by phone, text, Facebook Messenger, however they're going to talk to them, they're going to contact them. They're only looking to contact one. People don't want to compare. They don't like those conversations.
Sure.
There's every once in a while you get somebody that digs that, but most people don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be here. So what they're doing is, it's not only is it work, it's just emotionally uncomfortable. We're not equipped to that. You and I have a little bit of an age difference, and then you and the Gen Z has another age difference, and we've kind of watered down that whole conflict resolution thing over the years to where people feel like there's a conflict just by shopping around. They feel like that is a conflict situation and they'll avoid it. So anyway, if you want to eliminate those conversations about your rate being 1/8 of a point different or a 1/4 point different, have a better online presence so that you win the conversation, because the other conversations aren't even going to occur. And that's what I tried to explain to a lot of originators, is that you've got to win that conversation. And rather than me, if I say to Preston, I am awesome. I am going to get you closed on time. I have great rates and I give you great service. Well, you expect me to say that. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, you give that a validity score of 1.6. But when you start reading reviews from other people, it's neurolinguistic programming. And those reviews, if other people are reinforcing it over and over and over, well, now all of a sudden that credibility score goes up to 6, 7, 8. And, it could be the exact same words, but coming from somebody else. And what's funny is if I say, Preston, I wrote this book and I'm an author, a published author about this, well, that lends some kind of a credibility to me. My credibility goes up. If I say, as seen on CNBC, if I've been on Squawk Box, that gives me some kind of credibility. And you go scratch your head and you go, really, why? When you think about it, you're like, why? But yet it does. In our minds, we still kind of give that. And most consumers today are going to give a lot of credibility to the reviews. If we tell that they're authentic reviews and that we see enough of them, more than just a couple. And a lot of times, believe it or not, some people will even look for your negative review just so they can see if that person's crazy. So a lot of originators are like, I don't want any negative reviews on there. If I
actually great. I'd rather have a 4.9 than a 5.
And exactly, it's more authentic, it's more real. What's funny is I have one person from over the years that said, that gave us a negative review, and he went on and bought 2 more products from us. It's like, you scratch your head and you're like, you gave me a negative review, but you keep buying from me.
Like,
like, and I've always left it up there because it always makes me laugh because, and then everybody knows, and let's actually make this a little bit of value for people. So let's say you do get
That's so funny, bro. It's like the relationship you shouldn't be in, but the sex is so good you can't. You gotta keep going back.
I have another story. We'll keep that far off the podcast. So but let's go ahead and say you did get a negative review. Your first response to a negative review is to be thorough in your answer. Let's say you get a Google review and Preston says, Hammer didn't return my phone call. And then when I finally got a call back, he said that I was going to, pre-qualify for this loan and I wouldn't have a problem but then I sent him my documents and all of a sudden there's an issue and now we're not closing. Well, that's what they put out there, right? And my first reaction might be to respond with the truth and say, well, Preston, you did have a hard time getting a hold of me because you called me at 11:30 at night and I don't answer my phone at 11:30 at night when I'm sleeping. However, I did return your call immediately the next day at 8:30 in the morning. And when we did talk, I said to you that I could pre-qualify you based on the things that you were telling me, but a pre-qualification and a pre-approval are different, and I needed your documents. And then you took 3 weeks to get me your documents. And when I finally did see your pay stub and I saw that you were on commission and you had child support taken out that you didn't tell me about, we weren't able to qualify you for the house that you already tried putting in an offer on. Well, that's the problem. So originators here, they know where I'm going. They know this story. They know that it was never actually my fault. The problem is you can't say that on Google, right? What you want to do, here's your actionables. If you guys ever get a negative Google review, less is more. You need to remember that, number one, less is more. Number two, you need to remember your audience. I'm not trying to convince Preston that I did the right thing. I'm not arguing with Preston. What I'm doing is I have a small window to put a rebuttal for other people reading the review so that they can look at it and decide, was this person crazy or was this person right and I want to avoid working with Hammer? So the way that you do that is you say, Preston, thank you for your concerns. I'm sorry that you had a negative experience. In order to protect your privacy, I'd rather not release any details here publicly. However, I'm always here to help and work with you if you'd like to reach out to me personally. Now, what's funny is Preston's not going to call me back, but anybody reading that is like, well, yeah, hey, Preston's a Karen. Can't help but, this guy answered that. How could, this is the way that I want to be treated if I have a negative experience. I want somebody to hear me out. I want somebody to offer help. Okay, good. This checks the boxes. So if you get a negative review, those are some key phrases of to protect your privacy. I love that term on a review. To protect your privacy, I'd rather not share any details here, but I'm always available to talk to you about it directly. And that's all you needed, because what do people want? They want to, this is money stuff. They want to keep their private matter private. They don't, if they have a bad time, they certainly don't want you going on there telling them, that they have child support, right? They don't want you to, we all see ourselves in that. So if you ever get a negative review, put your emotion away, answer it in a way that it's not for the person that left it for you. It's for the people that are sure to read it afterwards.